Good evening and welcome to our 2011 Visions Conference Awards Dinner and Dance. Have you enjoyed the sessions and activities of the last 2 days? It's been an awesome conference, and I know you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Before we get into the festivities of the night, I wanted to once again announce the winners of our raffle. So listen up, this is important. You might be a winner. First of all, Kim LeClaire, Colleen Cardy, Bob Stymist, Donna Russo, Brenda Lee, and Amy Reef. Your winnings are at the registration table, so be sure and stop by and pick those up. It is my pleasure to now introduce our Master of Ceremonies, comedian and actor John Wellner. Let me tell you all these fabulous things about John Wellner. Y'all listen just for a minute. John hails from Chicago, where he studied theater and performed at such renowned theaters as Second City and the Steppenwolf Theater. A regular on TV and film, you may have seen him on Becker, Gilmore Girls, Yes Dear, Judging Amy, NCIS, That's So Raven, Bones, Drop Dead Diva, the TV movie Surviving Gilligan's Island, or the films Evan Almighty and Ocean's 13. I'd say quite a career, and he's quite a young guy still. In 2004, John was cast as toxicologist Henry Andrews on CSI Crime Scene Investigation and has filmed over 50 episodes to date. In addition to acting, John is the co-owner of Entertainment Research Consultants, a company that provides research to writers of film and television. You may remember John's hilarious stint at the 2008 Visions Conference. We are thrilled to have him with us again tonight. Please give a warm welcome to John Wellner.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the 2011 Visions Conference Awards Dinner. I am honored and privileged to be here tonight in support of the Foundation Fighting Blindness and their critical mission of finding cures and treatments for retinal degenerative diseases. We're here tonight to celebrate, right? It's been 40 years since the Foundation Fighting Blindness was founded. That means, yes. For 40 years, the foundation has been driving research. As you've learned this weekend, they have made some great strides in overcoming retinal degenerative diseases that affect 10 million Americans. We have many of the founders here of the foundation tonight, and I'm very excited about that. Tonight, we're also here to recognize some exceptional volunteers, some members, and some chapters through our first ever membership award ceremony. This is our first time doing this, but do not worry. I'm from Hollywood, where all we do is give out awards to each other, so it will be smooth. But look, all the sessions are over now. Hopefully you have learned a lot. You are ready for a great evening of dinner, drinking, dancing, awards. It's going to be wonderful. So why am I here? You cannot tell by looking at me, unless you have a high-definition optical coherence tomography machine, that I have retinitis pigmentosa. I am proof, ladies and gentlemen, that retinal diseases can affect anyone, from people you've never heard of to people on television that you've never heard of. Thank you. It's cool. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, some guy does CSI, and That's So Raven is the best host we could get. I get it. I understand. It's lame. I agree. However, if we change the criteria to the best host we could get with RP, then, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I am in the top 25. Thank you. Thank you. Somewhere between Steve Wynn and Kevin James's sister, right in there. So, I thought just to start tonight, I'd briefly tell you my story, mostly because I know it better than any of your stories. I'm not sure how I got RP. Nobody in my family has it. I am suspectful of a toilet seat at Wrigley Field, a guy that coughed on me on an airplane, and all that anonymous sex in the 70s. But who really knows? I was diagnosed in 2002 when I was about 25 years old, and this eye doctor told me that I might have RP, and I didn't know anything about it, and he didn't tell me anything about it. So I remember driving home thinking, oh, this sucks. I'm going to have to get, like, eye drops or something. And I went home and I Googled it, and I feel like that's the moment that my life changed. I had dial-up internet at the time, though, so it was like several moments, because it would say, retinitis pigmentosa, leading to blindness. Oh. Treatments. Well, here we go. Loading, loading, loading. None. Oh, well, maybe I'll just hit refresh and hope for an update there. Nothing. So, when you realize that you are going blind, you have to live your life a little bit different, right? You start waking up earlier, so there's more daylight hours. You travel more, so you can see more of the world while you still can see. You watch a lot of pornography because you want to save up for the dark years. Am I right? It's planning, folks. So, it's been about 10 years that I've lived with the disease, and I feel like I've accepted it in my head. My therapist would disagree, but I go around and I act like there's nothing wrong, and I pretend that I'm fine, and that can get me in trouble, right? Because if you walk around with your cane or your dog, it gives you some leeway, but for me, I just look like a jerk, because RP is not a vision disease for me, it's a jerk disease, and here's why. Like, if you go to give me a high five, I will not see you. If I'm not wearing dark glasses, I'm rude, right? If I bump into you, which will happen, and I'm not carrying a cane, I'm a jerk. If I step on a kid, which I will do because I cannot see below my nipples, if I step on your kid and I'm not reading like a Braille newspaper at that moment, I'm a child abuser. I went to a movie and sat on a woman because I thought the seat was empty. No guide dog? I'm a sexual predator. And if it is dark or even dusk, I cannot see black or brown people. I will hit them with my car. Racist. It's a jerk disease for me, folks. And yes, I still drive at night, so look out! I like to say. But what am I supposed to do? I live in LA. Am I supposed to take the bus? I'm from television. What? Now, look, I could clear all this up, right, by just carrying a cane, but I feel like I've got my keys and my wallet and my phone. I don't need any more stuff. So what do? I mean, it's hard to explain it, right? It's hard to bump into someone and say, I'm really sorry, I just have a progressive disease called retinitis pigmentosa that causes the degeneration of the photoreceptor cells in my retina, leading to progressive blindness. So that's why I fondled you. Maybe I could just wear my Visions Walk t-shirt, and that would give a hint that, like, maybe something's up. Something. But I don't say anything, and I don't know why I'm so ashamed. When I was in college, I went through a revolving door, and it was really clean, you know, with the glass, and I tried to exit too soon. Yes, folks, I was a premature evacuator. You could take that joke home with you and put it under your pillow, and it'll grow into a fart joke. No, so I tried to leave the revolving door, and my glasses get all smushed up in my face, right? And all these kids are looking at me from inside. And so to cover, I said, shouldn't have had that last beer. Because in my mind, it was 10 a.m., by the way. Because for some reason, I felt like being a raging alcoholic was better than having a retinal disease. And being single with RP was difficult. I'm married now, thankfully. I got married so I'd have someone to take care of me. And love, mostly love, but no leaving. You gotta take care of me. But when you're single, it's hard, right? Because girls, they want to go to dark places. They want to go to restaurants and bars and concerts. And they would always think it's weird when I'd be like, let's go to Walgreens and the grocery store or Lamp World. Sometimes I'd get lucky enough and I'd make out with a girl, but I would kiss their eyebrow by mistake because I can't find their lips. But then what I would do, check this smooth move out. I kiss the other eyebrow. Like it's this thing I do. I'm the eyebrow kisser. It was very impressive. It didn't work as well when I would attempt to have sex with their armpits. There is no good nickname for that guy. I do prefer being married now, although I think I kind of use my RP as a crutch sometimes. I'll be like, I can't walk the dog, it's too dark out, or I can't put the dishes away, don't know where the forks go. Or like, oh, that's not your butt I'm staring at because my RP is flaring up right now. And it's weird that I'm even doing this because I don't talk about my RP that much. It seems I only will if there's 600 people around and dancing. But most people at CSI don't even really know that I have it. If you've never seen CSI, either because you have vision impairment or because you prefer Grey's Anatomy, it is the darkest set around, right? And then the lab where I work is all glass. And I don't wear my glasses on the show, and I don't have contacts. So I'm like the best actor ever because I'm working on 2 levels, right? Thank you. I'm acting like a toxicologist on the show and like someone who can see. It's kind of crazy. I did tell some of the producers about my RP in the hopes to kind of spread the word. And, well, they did an episode. They did. They had an episode where a police officer came up and said, "You couldn't see that fingerprint? What do you have, retinitis pigmentosa?" And I said, well, that's a start. Maybe we could do it more as a storyline and not as much as a punchline. And so they did. They did a whole episode where a cop shot his partner because he has RP, and then he felt bad about it, so he killed himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I stopped asking them to put retinitis pigmentosa on the show. I love them, but I do feel it's a little bit like, you got something else you want us to put on the show? You want us to talk about something? They don't seem to understand what we go through here. And that's the thing, right? It's so easy to feel alone and hopeless. But that's why coming here, I think, is so great. It's to find out that we are not alone and that people have been through it all before, and to see all the hope that technology is bringing. I like to say that it's a great time in history to be blind. It's way better than like the 1400s. No, because it was like horrible then. They didn't have the internet. And things are advancing so fast now. There's this study where you can take bear bile pills, right? And it will slow the progression. I don't fully understand it, but if it will help my sight, I will eat bear poo. I will eat it right up, whatever it takes. I'll try anything. My honor and my privilege to introduce the Foundation's chairman and co-founder, Gordon Gund. Gordon is affected. There's more. Okay. Gordon has been affected by retinitis pigmentosa for 4 decades, but he has been a true visionary in the quest for treatments and cures. He is the chairman and chief executive officer of Gund Investment Corporation and, of course, was the principal owner of the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers and part owner of the San Jose Sharks. Ladies and gentlemen, there is not a person on the planet with a greater passion for bringing an end to these diseases, nor is there anyone who has done so much in support of that effort. Please, please help me welcome Gordon Gund.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a wonderfully warm welcome. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I'm very glad to be here with all of you. I'm just the next jerk to come up on this stage. As John said, we're all jerks here in this room. Anyway, John, what a great job. That was wonderful, and thank you so much for being our MC tonight. Let's give John a round of applause. Well, for me, it's been a great conference. I hope it has for you. Have you enjoyed it? You know, it's great, and we haven't even started dancing tonight. But here we are with a lot of breakthroughs and wonderful clinical trial opportunities in front of us. Hard not to love this one. This is a great conference. I also, I know that there was a poll taken yesterday at lunch about the number of people who were here for the first time. I never got the count, but whether you're here for the first time or this is your 5th conference, I hope you all have an appreciation for what a special occasion and special event this is for the Foundation. It's really like a big family reunion. It's wonderful to see everybody, to have a chance to hear voices I've heard before and talk to a lot of people. And we all come from, well, all over the country, 40 different states, more than 600 people here. It's just remarkable. All of you are passionate supporters, our chapter leaders, our volunteers, researchers, clinicians, members of the board of directors, our national trustees, and of course, part of our fabulous staff. So this is really incredible. I think the one thing we come from lots of different vantage points, different unique interests and life pursuits, but we all share one thing in common. It's a passion for a common mission. Towards which we focus this passion. For Lulie and I, all of you are like family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is, and it's really wonderful to be here with you. As you know, an event like this over multiple days just doesn't happen. It happens because of an extraordinary staff. We're very fortunate to have a professional staff under the leadership of our Chief Executive, Bill Schmidt, and his senior leadership team. Well, and I'd like to especially mention 2 groups. There's Angie Vasquez, Angie and her entire communications and marketing team that have done just an amazing job in organizing all this, getting all of us lined up and then executing it. So here's to you, Angie, and to your entire team. And the other group is, and these are all part of that incredible staff, but the other group is the science department, who's organized and arranged for all of the science presentations we've heard. Just terrific. Thank you, Dr. Rose, and your entire team, too. And before I get going, I also want to thank all the presenters. We have had people, experts from a lot of different fields, who've presented to us over the last couple of days, and panelists and basic scientists and clinical researchers. It's just terrific. Thanks to all of you for participating in this. You know, we're here to celebrate, among other things, our 40th anniversary. Of course, I'm not admitting to being part of that. I'm not that old. No. What I'm happy, though, about is that we can do this all together, and what a journey it's been. And I must say it is really, for me, it's very inspiring to be here in a room where people share in this very real passion and commitment and have the drive to take this movement as far as it has come. I mean, you've all been part of this tremendous progress in the fight against blindness. But there's one group that without which, if we hadn't, Lulie and I hadn't been part of this founding group, and there are many of the original founders here tonight, we wouldn't even have the opportunity to be in a fight if it wasn't for that group. The founding group, I want to introduce many of them who are here tonight and mention all of them. We're very fortunate, and if you'd wait till I finish listing those who are here, and then we'll applaud, and I'll mention the others too. But we have Bev Berman, we have Danny and Eileen Friedman, we have Harriet and David Finkelstein, and of course my wife Lulie, all here tonight. Would you please stand? At the wonderful group of great friends, and at the last minute we learned that Shoshana Cardin was unable to join us. She's ill this evening, and same with Alex Yankeloff, but both of them we miss and are greatly appreciative for. And sadly, tonight, others who cannot be with us are the late Ben Berman, Jerome Cardin, Sally and Irv Kushner, fabulous people too, and Dave Gomberoff. So that's the entire group, and let's give them all a round. When we all got together 40 years ago in 1971 in a farmhouse in a small suburb outside of Baltimore, a suburb of Baltimore, we didn't really know anything about what was in store for us, really. What we did know is we were going to do everything we could to stop retinal degenerative diseases from causing blindness. And we had with us and bringing us together Dr. Elliot Burson, who is here tonight. Elliot. Dr. Burson brought us together and rallied us around an opportunity to make a real difference. In fact, at the time, there was very little. When I was losing my sight in the late 60s, there was no research going on and almost no knowledge about these diseases. So we were really starting from the beginning, and Elliot had the courage and the foresight to develop what is called a multidiscipline laboratory that is bringing a number of scientific disciplines or specialties together with the clinical researchers to start trying to learn and gain the knowledge about these diseases so treatments and cures could be found. And fortunately, that was the rallying cry we started with. It was our focus entirely to get that lab, the construction, equipping, and operating of that lab funded. And this group I think, really changed the direction of medical research then, and provided the basis for the tremendous opportunities that have come since, and the clinical trials and breakthroughs we've heard about today. So let me just once again, to the founding group and to Elliot, thank you. Now, over 40 years, of course, you're going to run into a lot of challenges, and you're going to run into a lot of changes. And a lot of things aren't going to go as you hope, and so you've got to move through them and around them and do whatever you can to keep the forward momentum going. And we've been very lucky to have a number of outstanding entrepreneurial, committed leaders join us over these last 40 years, and many of them are here in this room. And I want to applaud all of you and thank you all, because, as I said before, it wouldn't happen without the efforts of all of you, of all of the researchers and all of the volunteers and all of the staff. But amongst those volunteer leaders that I would like to single out are our officers and committee co-chairs right now, many of whom, and one other, who've been with the foundation, all of them for more than 10 years, many for 20, many for 30 and beyond. Let me start with Bill Chatlos, who is here in the room and joined us. Bill joined us in the mid-70s and provided tremendous wisdom and insight, leadership, and he and his family have been major supporters of the foundation over the years, through not only directly but the Chatlos Foundation. And actually, Elliot Burson is the William F. Chatlos Professor of Ophthalmology at Harvard University, thanks to the Chatlos family. And then I think all of you know Ed Golub. And Ed joined us 30 years ago. Sadly, he's not here tonight, or I would ask him to stand, but they have some illness in their family, and he had to go back. He was here, as you know, yesterday. And then let me go through the officers. There is Jerry Shaw, who's vice chairman, and he and his wife, Debbie, have been involved for more than 20 years. Great leaders of this organization. There's Joel Davis, who's the senior vice president of the foundation, also joined the effort in the 70s. And his mother, Helen, is here. Helen, why don't you stand? She was very involved. Was involved for more than 20 years, starting in 1972. So another as close to a founder as you can get. And then there's Haynes Lee, who's been involved for 20 years. Who's just been a terrific leader in this effort, and not only a secretary in the past and treasurer and a vice president, great friend and great leader. Also David Brent, who could not be here but was here yesterday. David is vice president and chairman of our Science Liaison Committee, and also Yvonne Chester. Yvonne, you're here. Thank you. And there are a couple of other people, donors I want to mention, who have been involved from very early on, starting with the trustees of the George Gunn Foundation, who were involved at the very beginning and are not here, and also Steve Wynn. Both of these donors, Steve is fabulous too, and as you may know, both of them continue to be major supporters of the effort now. So let me give you a little bit of history, then we have a video, then I have some more remarks to put you to sleep before you have your dessert. So get your wine glass filled. Anyway, first of all, I want to just mention that when we started, shortly afterwards, with Ben Berman, who was an incredible, relentless fundraiser, the best I've ever known. I mean, he would open his heart and he would bring people in. We just did a great job. With him leading the charge, and Danny right behind, and many others, we were able to to very early on, one by one, bring people and donors into this organization and into our cause. And before long, we'd built up not only quite a number of donors, not only in the United States, but overseas. We also had begun to open up chapters outside of Baltimore. My wife, Lulie, started a chapter in early 1973, and others started them, and she's still running it. And so soon we began to gain the confidence that not only could we meet the demands and the needs to fund the Berman Gun Laboratory for the study of retinal degenerations, but also we could start expanding the scope, and we could move on to other research. And it was clear at the same time we realized, as we learned more about the retina, that there were many more diseases that involved many more hereditary related eye diseases involved than just RP. And that meant the list goes on. It's a long list, but Stargardt's and Usher's disease and macular degeneration and on and on. We knew it would be a much more complicated and more demanding effort than we had thought at the first. And that was when those two things collided: our ability to raise more money and our ability and the knowledge that it was a much bigger effort and much more than just getting this first laboratory going, which was huge. And that laboratory has been, the Berman Gun Lab, hugely productive under Elliott's leadership, hugely productive. But we also knew we needed to expand the base of research, and so brought in a scientific advisory board that was second to none, and that has made all the difference in terms of our research program, in developing the strategy of it, in giving us the credibility and the integrity for the research we were funding, and in making sure that we were on top of new technology developments so that those were applied as early and soon as we could, in giving us the ability to attract and bring in young scientists, young clinicians to really populate the field from the very beginning with a lot of great people. And to start with, the people on that board, and there's some of them here tonight, the original board, there are also a lot of the other members of scientific advisory board here tonight, but was Dr. Alan Ladies, who chaired it for 32 years. Alan, thank you. And there are others like Dr. John Dowling, Mort Goldberg, Dr. Joe Hollyfield, Matt LaVale, Gene Anderson, who we honored yesterday, and on and on. I'd like all the members, all the people who are past and present members of our scientific advisory board, would you all please stand and be recognized for the great job you do. They're just the best. The best. I mean, they're world class, and that's our greatest resource in my mind, because they've really developed this whole program. You heard this morning from Paul Sieving about one example that those of you who were here heard him describe how this gene therapy treatment that is restoring sight to young people that are blind, how it all started and how long it took. And that was this scientific advisory board that hung in there and really made it happen. Now, I mentioned leaders, and we also have altogether an extraordinary board of directors that work very hard on all of this. And I'd like the members of the board of directors who are here to please stand. And finally, before we get to the video, let me say that there are some other members of the founders' families. Sally and Kushner's two daughters, Stacy and Susan, and their husbands are here, and we're delighted they're here. And also Gail Berman and her husband. So thanks to you guys for being here. It's really all about, our funding is all about funding the research. And the research, you've heard about some great breakthroughs, and wonderful clinical trials, and the research is the racing car that's going to take us over the finish line. But all of you are the engine that's going to make that car get to the finish line. So I really appreciate all of you being here and the tremendous passion you bring. This video looks at the last 40 years and captures it and encapsulates it. I hope you enjoy it. Please roll the video.
It has been said that the impossible is what nobody can do until somebody dreams and somebody does. This is the story of those who both dreamed and did the impossible. This is the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
I was told I had a retinal degenerative disease called retinitis pigmentosa. There wasn't a lot known about it then. As my sight was going rapidly, I was willing to do anything to find a way to stop the loss of vision. I tried a treatment in Russia, and it was much different and a horrifying kind of experience to find how run down it was. Their treatment was injections with what they called animal biostimulants all over your body every day, 12 or 15 of them a day. And then they bathed my eyes with some special solution and transduced ultrasound into them. It was clear that after a few days, even though I had almost over 4 weeks to go, that it wasn't going to work.
Gordon Gund was not alone, soon discovering that thousands of others, of all ages, were also affected. He learned just how little was known about retinal degenerative diseases.
Mindy was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa on February 19, 1971. Joanne was diagnosed several days later. We looked at these two girls and said, how can this be? What can we do?
In the early 70s, there were virtually no good options for a parent who had a child with retinitis pigmentosa. There was inadequate diagnosis, very little understanding of the nature of the disorders, virtually no worthwhile advice on what might happen to a child, whether the disorder would progress once discovered.
We just could not accept this diagnosis, and we had to do something.
While very little was known about RP, an ophthalmologist named Dr. Elliot Burson at Harvard Medical School was working to gain a better understanding of the disease so he could help his patients.
My late husband, Ben, and Dr. Burson discussed the possibility of establishing a multidiscipline approach to retinitis pigmentosa. The Retinitis Pigmentosa Foundation was incorporated in September 17th of 1971. Dr. Burson set up a meeting for my late husband, Ben, and Gordon Gund to meet. Gordon and Ben got together and they had a meeting of the minds of what had to be done.
Gordon Gund and the late Bernard Berman, along with the other founders, proved to be a formidable team and soon joined forces to raise funds for the Retinitis Pigmentosa Foundation, the forerunner to the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Its mission? To fund research that will lead to treatments and cures for retinal degenerative diseases.
I had a phone call from this fellow named Gordon Gund, and we talked for a while. He was telling me about this fledgling board and scientific effort to find the causes and treatments for retinitis pigmentosa. And he invited me to a board meeting. I remember going to the first board meeting and meeting this handful of people that had put this foundation together. And that meeting was held in a suburban motel meeting room outside of Baltimore, and it was pretty unimpressive. Then the impressive part came to me. Listening to these people and understanding their dedication to fighting the fight.
The foundation, at its inception, filled an exceptionally important role. There was just no place where you could get further information no way to meet others who had a similar problem. The foundation filled a series of needs.
As the foundation attracted affected families and concerned volunteers, they realized that turning their dream into a reality would require extensive funding and an experienced team of passionate researchers. They developed the Scientific Advisory Board to architect the Foundation's research funding program, and in 2004 established the Foundation's clinical arm, the National Neurovision Research Institute.
The clinical arm, or the translational arm, the NNRI, was created to take the laboratory research from the bench and translate it to the patient. Knowledge and discovery, block upon block, that our researchers have built have led us to the point where now it's no longer a hope for a treatment or cure or prevention. It's a reality.
The foundation gives me a tremendous feeling of hope. It's the main connection to updates on research. It's a connection to networking with other people and other retinal degenerative diseases that have talked to other doctors. It's a great way to keep informed and keep up to date and keep inspired.
I literally think every day about the tremendous opportunity we have to change the world for thousands and possibly millions of people, both in the United States and beyond. Over the past 40 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has raised a total of $425 million. $325 million of that has gone directly into research in our public education programs. We couldn't be doing what we're doing without all the volunteers and donors that we have all across the United States. This is really about them, and they provide the energy and the passion and the drive to raise the money to fund the research.
We have funded the research that has really led the way in understanding macular degeneration, the retinal degenerative disease that's responsible for blindness in over 10 million Americans and hundreds of millions around the world. We have led the way in the gene therapy project to restore sight to individuals with the childhood form of blindness, Leber's congenital amaurosis. We've restored sight in an 8-year-old child. We've restored sight in a 44-year-old mother who can now walk her kids to and from school. Really made a tremendous difference in those areas. And we're building on those. We are funding the high impact, high result type of work that is leading the field in retinal degenerative research.
Since its inception in 1971, the Foundation's goal has remained the same: provide hope to millions of people around the world who suffer from retinal degenerative diseases, and one day find cures for all who are affected.
The Foundation's role in helping us to achieve this goal has been critical and brilliant. They have leveraged limited resources opportunistically in a way that has kept dying projects alive, allowed projects that are alive with not enough working capital to advance. And I can say that without their support, I doubt that we would, at this point in time, have identified so many of the genes that cause different forms of retinitis pigmentosa and have as many clinical trials today in progress to actually treat these blinding conditions.
The Foundation is the answer to retinal disease. I mean, the Foundation's the only hope I have of helping my daughters. We're the largest private effort out there to cure these diseases, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen through us.
We know now that we can get it done. We know the time is right to get it done, and it's up to all of us to do it. There's nobody else that's going to do it. We have clinical trials now waiting in the wings to get going. It's going to take a lot of money. We're going to have to work very hard to fund these clinical trials because clinical research costs a lot more money than research in a laboratory. So it's up to all of us to do what we can, because it's really a matter now of how much funding as far as how much time it's going to take to finish the job and find these treatments and cures and go out of business once and for all.
There's enormous hope, not just based on we're going to put all these things together and it's going to provide wonderful research. Now here is a body of information. It's way more than hope, it's a reality.
It's one thing to be successful in business, be a successful parent, be a successful spouse, but to have the opportunity as an ordinary human being to be part of changing the course of the world in a better direction. And once these research goals are accomplished, they last forever. So, for me, it's been a life privilege.
Thank you for dreaming. Thank you for doing. Because of you, our hope is becoming a reality. We are the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Well, that's really a wonderful story, isn't it? And we know now it's unfolding still. It isn't finished, but we know where it's headed. And it's thanks to all of you that we are at this great point in time for the foundation and for people with retinal degenerative diseases. When Lulie and I had a film crew come to our house a few weeks ago to shoot some footage for this video, and spent several hours there, and at the end I felt the shoot had gone well. But that night I was unable to sleep because I kept thinking of the things that I didn't say, that I didn't mention, the milestones that we've achieved, and most of all I kept thinking of all the people that had had so much a part of this, been so much a part of it, that I didn't have a chance to mention. And as it turns out, there have been too many milestones. That's the high-grade problem here, to mention them all, and there have been too many people. But let me take just one more minute to sketch out something of what's happened. When you heard this, and I mentioned earlier, to begin with, it was all about developing the critical knowledge, the knowledge that was essential to be able to start finding treatments and cures. In 1989, we had the first gene for retinal degeneration was discovered. And since then, researchers that we've funded and others, but mostly researchers we've funded, have discovered more than half of the number of genes responsible for these diseases. And with the technology that's now available, it is clear that within the next 5 years we'll have most, if not all of them, identified and discovered. So that's quite a change, and we have been in the era of gene discovery. Since then, in 1993, Dr. Elliot Burson published his paper on nutritional therapy using vitamin A, and very successful results, and since then has added to it work with lutein and omega-3 fatty acids. And now, I mean, really kind of a breakthrough for those of us waiting for other treatments or cures. He's shown that with a lot of forms of retinal degenerative disease, he's able to extend the life of the average useful vision life for those people by more than 20 years. Quite a breakthrough, Elliot. Thank you. In 1995, our researchers we funded were successful in treating animal models with gene therapy. And you've heard already a couple of times, but it's worth repeating. In 2008, researchers funded by the foundation were able to restore vision to young people and adults who were blind from a severe form of LCA. An amazing miracle. So now it's official. We're in the, after 40 years, we're officially in the era of clinical trials. I mean, it's an amazing time, and one that is, the responsibility, of course, falls to all of us to get more and more people involved. Over the years, that same small group, the small family that we started with, has grown immensely. Today, we have a robust group of a board of directors. We have over 100 national trustees. Here's one for you. We have over 200,000 active members, donors and volunteers around the country. Pretty amazing. And we have a staff of close to 100 people that are working tirelessly every day on behalf of achieving our mission. So they do a tremendous job. We're very fortunate. I think now our job is to not only maintain but accelerate the energy and the forward momentum towards bringing more clinical trials into the clinic, more of the therapies that are developed in the laboratory into the clinic and then onto the patients that need them. Right now we have 6 clinical trials underway, and latest word I have is that it is believed that at least within the next 4 years we will have at least 12 more clinical trials underway. That's staggering. That really is great stuff. So we have a lot to celebrate tonight. We also need to recognize that it's up to all of us to finish the job. And it's a big job. We've got a lot of work left. Clinical trials are quite expensive, as we all know, and it's not getting any easier to attract venture capitalists into early stage investing these days. So it's really up to us to keep this whole thing moving. We really appreciate the tremendous work of the chapter leaders. We've expanded the chapters, and that's helped expand our funding base. We all need to keep working on that and do even more of that. The more people we can bring in, the faster we can get the job done. The more money we can bring in, and that all relates, the faster we can get the job done. But it really is, the thing that really encourages and excites me throughout all these meetings these last 2 days is that this effort started with an incredible determination and resolve from our founding group. But that same extraordinary resolve and that same commitment and passion exists in this room and amongst everybody who's involved with our effort today. So I know we're going to get there. And I thank you. Hope you have a great celebration tonight. There's a lot to celebrate. We will have, and I hope you enjoy afterwards, our inaugural membership awards program. Thank you very much. It's great being with you.
Fighting Blindness Membership Awards, brought to you by the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Now, I had like a whole music thing planned. That kind of works.
Welcome to the first annual Foundation Fighting Blindness Membership Awards.
Okay, that totally doesn't work. We're going to actually do a co-host thing because that worked so well at the Oscars with James Franco and Anne Hathaway. Thank you. Table 4. This is going to be great, though, because we're not going to do any of that lame banter that they do award shows between the two hosts, and the award winners aren't going to give speeches, so we don't have to do that awkward thing where we, like, play them off the stage with the music. We're just going to give out an award. They're going to come up here. This is called Stage Right in the biz. They're going to get their lovely award, and they're going to walk off and go back to their seats, and then at the end we're going to take a photo. There's going to be dancing and drinking and good times aplenty. So are we ready? Please, please help me welcome my co-host. Folks, you know him, you love him, he's tall. He is Jim Minow, the Chief Development Officer of the FFB. He's going to join me on stage to help me lead these first ever Foundation Fighting Blindness Membership Awards. Jim has led the Foundation's fundraising efforts for the past 6 years. Wow. And we are all so thankful for all of his tireless work. Please help me welcome Jim Minow.
Thank you, John. Thank you. You don't know fear until you have to follow Gordon Gund on substance and John Wellner on humor. But thank you, John, and thank you for coming all the way from Los Angeles to host this event for us tonight. Thank you. And Gordon, just in case you get Angie and Stacy mixed up a little bit in the future, you know, Angie's the tall one and Stacy is sort of the shorter one. So anyway, but they're both great employees of the Foundation Fighting Blindness. You know, there are few organizations where volunteers have the passion, the commitment, and the leadership or the vision that the volunteers bring to this organization. This year, the Board of Directors has asked us to start a formal volunteer recognition program, and we were thrilled with that opportunity. But two tasks proved to be challenging. The first task is that we really had too many outstanding programs, the first challenge. The Volunteer Selection Committee had to work overtime to find exceptional programs from among the ones that were merely outstanding. The second challenge we had was what to name it. You know, we thought we would go to some of the smartest folks that we knew to help name this program, and so we asked our scientists. And our scientists quickly decided that they wanted to name it for something in the eye. They thought and they thought and they scratched their heads, and they said it's really not the Oscars and it's really not the Tonys. How about we call it the Rods and Conies? Steve Rose, who's a Yankees fan, he wanted to call it the iRod Award. And it went downhill from there. One of the brainiest docs once wanted to call it, and you really have to work on this one, the Neuro Trophy. So then we went to the fundraisers, and they didn't care what the hell we called it as long as we sold it, the naming rights to the highest bidder. And so we're still open to suggestions from any of you, but as you've no doubt figured out by now from attending every session of this conference, that any thoughts or suggestions that you have must be tweeted in to */#Visions 2012. So, we're going to start with the Vision Walk Strides Award. This award is for recognition of significant improvement of a vision walk. This award is presented to the 2 vision walks that demonstrated the most significant improvement in 2010 from the previous year in areas of team participation, walker registration, sponsorship, and fundraising. Awards are presented to 2 vision walks nationwide, one in a large fundraising market and one in a small fundraising market. The winner in the large market, from the Peach State, the Atlanta chapter of the Foundation Fighting Blindness, accepting is Mickey Merkel. In 2010, the Atlanta Vision Walk raised an amazing $132,000 compared to $72,000 the year before. That's a $60,000 increase. Thanks to the dedication of the chapter leadership group, Vision Walk leadership, team captains, and all of the volunteers in Atlanta, the Atlanta Vision Walk continues to grow year after year by increasing the number of teams, the number of walkers, and dollars raised. Congratulations, Atlanta. And the winner in the small market from the Sunshine State, the Jacksonville chapter of the Foundation Fighting Blindness, accepting is Megan Monty and Lisa Pleasance. Here are Megan and Lisa. In 2009, the first year that this Vision Walk took place, it was off to a slow start, but was still able to come back with a respectable 76% of its goal. The following year, Jacksonville took what they had learned from the first walk, and with the help of walk chairs Megan Monty and Lisa Pleasance, knocked it out of the park, reaching 152% of their budgeted goal. The Jacksonville Vision Walk has grown immensely in the number of committee members. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, we are ready now for the Worst Vision Walk Award. I'm just kidding. That'd be horrible. This is for Outstanding Vision Walk. This is going to recognize sustained high achievement of a vision walk. This award will go to 2 vision walks that have shown the most year-over-year success in the areas of team participation, walker registration, sponsorship, and fundraising. So we're going to give out 2 awards. There's Vision Walks Nationwide, which is for the large fundraising market walk, and a small fundraising market watch. Here is our first for Outstanding Vision Walk in a large market. The nominees are... I'm just kidding, we're not doing that either. Okay, it's Dallas. You know what? Woo! Bill Bales, who is not attending, right? There's no Bill Bales. I will accept the award. on his behalf, and I will sell it on eBay. But I will tell you that the Dallas-Fort Worth Vision Walk grew from $135,000 in 2009 to over $190,000 in 2010. So that's amazing. Also, their walkers went from 400 to 1,600. And I didn't go to a state school, but that's like double. But no, 1,600 walkers, that still stands as the record, as the largest attendance at any vision walk. So congratulations to Dallas. I should say, too, we could make this into a little drinking game, right? Like, if your city is mentioned, you drink, yeah? So, I'm looking for the outstanding vision walk in a small market. Get ready for some beers, Milwaukee! Sherry McElliton and Nicole Verson. I will do my best Milwaukee accent here. Sherry and Nicole have been walk chairs for the Milwaukee Vision Walk for the past 2 years. They are key members of a strong walk committee, which has brought their walk goal. They have made their walk goal 3 years in a row. Seriously? Congratulations. And they are the first walk to do this in the country. Their efforts have allowed Milwaukee to welcome 700 attendees for each of their events. So congratulations to Nicole and Sherry. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm going to give it back to Jim. Here we go.
And now on to the Chapter Momentum Award, which recognizes significant improvement of a chapter. This award will be presented to 2 chapters that demonstrated the most significant improvement in 2010 from the previous years in areas of fundraising, chapter leadership, communications, outreach, and education. Awards will be presented to 2 chapters nationwide, winner and runner-up. The Honorable Mention Award, which means runner-up, goes to the St. Louis chapter of the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Jason Morris is the president of that chapter, could not be with us today, but briefly, as chapter president and local trustee, Jason is doing a phenomenal job of growing the membership of the local chapter. Jason has also recruited strong leadership and a team responsible for engaging the community, spreading awareness, educating the community about the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Jason, his son Jack, his parents Bob and Jill have all been significant leaders in both the Vision Walk and the Dining in the Dark in St. Louis, and we cannot congratulate them enough. So please, a round of applause. And the winner, which means the winner, is from the Windy City of Chicago, the Chicago chapter of the Foundation Fighting Blindness, accepting the award, Phyllis Hamby. Phyllis is the Chicago chapter president and has filled a vacant leadership position with others. If you know one thing about Phyllis, you know that she is the ultimate team player, and others who share her passion to raise awareness, share information, raise funds to drive the research and involve in finding a cure. Phyllis and her leadership team have the chapter moving in the right direction to grow, retain membership, to beat the Chicago Vision Walk goal. Thank you very much, Phyllis and Steve. And to create partnerships across the Chicagoland area. Congratulations. John, back to you.
We are on to Outstanding Chapter. This recognizes sustained high achievement of a chapter. This award is going to go to 2 chapters that have shown the most year-over-year growth and success in the areas of fundraising, chapter leadership, communications, outreach, and education. Awards are going to be presented to 2 chapters, again, a winner and a runner-up. We're going to start this time with the winner. Nope, the honorable mention. The honorable mention is... And you know what? The drinking game, I'm going to change it up now. Now it's just, if you've been to this city before, Denver! Scott Burt is our winner, representing Denver. The Denver chapter continues to impress the FFB as they have demonstrated extraordinary leadership and dedication through raising public awareness, fundraising, and volunteer work. The Colorado Vision Walk has raised over $600,000 in 5 years. The Denver Golf Tournament, over $1 million. Congratulations. That's awesome. And over $60,000 for our newest event, the Blind Taste of the Rockies. I want to go to that. That's fun. So congratulations to Scott Burt. And now to our outstanding chapter. If this chapter could not maintain its winning, then the runner-up takes it, of course. New York City, Sherry Rogers. Sherry Rogers, she is the co-president of the New York City chapter. She's a longtime supporter of the foundation. She has been a leader with the New York City chapter since it was started in 2008. She has also founded and directs a very successful Queens networking group, which meets monthly in Forest Hills, Queens. Here she comes, Sherry Rogers, everybody. Congratulations. Congratulations. You've been waiting all night for this, folks. Volunteer of the Year. Do you understand what I'm saying? 7 dynamic volunteers will be recognized for his or her excellent service in support of the Foundation's mission in 2010. 7 awards will be presented in this category. 1 award to a single outstanding volunteer in each development region. I'm changing the drinking game one more time. If you've ever heard of the city that wins, you drink. Folks, I'm actually very excited about this one. This is our first Volunteer of the Year award. I'm kind of nervous because it's going to the Florida region, Mrs. April Lefroux. Oh my God. Okay, check this out. Motivated to lead the Tampa Bay chapter since 2007 because of her sister, Melissa, is affected with RP. April's drive to make a difference, it grew even more when she and 2 of her children were also diagnosed with RP just last year. In addition to being a busy wife and mother who works 3 jobs, April finds the time to put her whole heart in Foundation's mission to help find a cure for her kids. And as if all that dedication weren't enough, she decided to return to pageantry, and she won the National Mrs. America crown this year in order to share her story with the world. Congratulations. That's so cool. I want a picture with you. It's Mrs. America. What?
April, you don't have to go. In the Northeast region, it's my pleasure to recognize a woman with steely resolve who has driven forward the work of the Boston chapter in the Northeast region, Martha Steele. Martha, please. If it's a job that needs to be done, Martha does it. The newsletter, the education, the outreach program, Vision Walk, the symposia, Martha is always focused on doing the job better. We are grateful for her unwavering commitment to driving the Foundation's mission and to educating the community about the great work that FFB is making possible.
We're on to the Mid-Atlantic region. If you've ever heard of that, some wine in your glass. Okay. Steve and Lisa Mack. Congratulations to Steve and Lisa Mack from the Mid-Atlantic region. Steve and Lisa continue to contribute to the FFB on many levels. They consistently prove their dedication and support to the mission, not only through their annual golf event, but also through their leadership with the Montgomery County chapter and their involvement with the Montgomery County Vision Walk and Northern Virginia Dinner. Steve and Lisa Mack.
On to the Midwest region. I'm happy to recognize the Volunteer of the Year from the only chapter in the country that refuses to name itself after the city in which it's located, and that's the Northern Lights chapter, which is somewhere in Minnesota. And that winner is Julie Anderson. Julie Anderson from the Midwest. Where's Julie? Julie has been instrumental in the Northern Lights chapter achievements. She has served as their president for the past 10 years. She's been involved with the Minneapolis Northern Lights Walk since its inception and chaired the event for 2 years. She has secured numerous $30, $20, and $10,000 sponsorships over her 4 years of involvement in the walk and has been instrumental in forming relationships with the medical community in Minneapolis. Those of you who heard Julie at our chapter training session knows that she is a woman who, quote, never gives up. So Julie, thank you for all your great commitment.
Let's head to the South region. We would like to recognize Scott and Gina Smith. We would like to, but they are not here, but I can still tell you about them. Because Scott and Gina Smith chaired the inaugural, the Birmingham Vision Walk in 2009, which exceeded its fundraising goal for the second annual Birmingham Vision Walk. Scott served as the business chair, and through his leadership, his company was a community champion sponsor and did team fundraising, bringing in a total of $27,000. Scott and Gina have been instrumental in building the Birmingham Vision Walk and chapter, and they are exceptional volunteers. And they're not here, but I'm still very proud of them.
Almost there. From the Southwest and from the great state of Texas, I'm pleased to recognize from San Antonio, Jody Avis from the San Antonio chapter for the Southwest Volunteer of the Year. Jody, please come up. Jody became president in early 2009 with aspirations of building the most impressive chapter and the most impressive vision walk in the nation, and she has certainly done that. From doing everything at the chapter, from stuffing envelopes and creating an extraordinary low vision resource guide to raising over $10,000 through her vision walk team, Jody has demonstrated her passion toward finding cures and making a difference. As co-chair for the most recent vision walk, she helped lead our teams to raising over $230,000, making San Antonio one of the largest vision walk events in FFB history.
And our last volunteer of the year is from the West region, Linda Becker, who's not here also, right? But Linda has been a supporter through the Orange County chapter since its beginning. There has never been a time when Linda is not acting as an ambassador on behalf of the foundation through her daily life, whether she's walking her guide dog, riding on access transportation, or just out in the public in general. She is always ready to talk about the foundation and its mission. We congratulate her and all the volunteers who have won tonight. Thank you so much. We have more awards.
Okay, we're on to our last three awards, and I have to ask you all to quiet down just a little bit because these people are very important, and if you're not quiet, they're going to fire me. When we ask people to serve as national trustees, they are always moved and honored and eager to serve. And that is, of course, before I share with them that trustees are asked to give or raise $100,000 a year, and then I hear, "What you talking about, Minow?" In our next award, we recognize new trustees for their notable contributions and sustained commitment to the Foundation's mission during their first 3 years of trusteeship. But this year we couldn't choose just one. So one set of winners who could not be with us tonight are Ed and Pam Babin from Philadelphia. Ed and Pam have been strong supporters of the Philadelphia Vision Walk and the Dining in the Dark and have raised over $300,000 between both of those events in the last 2 years. Ed and Pam spread the Foundation's mission to everyone they meet and encourage participation throughout their community. They're tremendous leaders for us. Please join me in a round of applause for Ed and Pam. Our second winner is a woman I've had the pleasure and honor to work closely with over the past couple of years, and that is from the state of California and the great city of San Francisco, Janie Lehrer-Stein. Thank you. Janie has been instrumental to the Foundation's growth and presence in the San Francisco area. For the past 2 years, she has been the chair of the San Francisco Dining in the Dark, which has raised more than $1.1 million for the Foundation. Through Janie's incredible work ethic, she has helped establish important corporate and political connections for the Foundation. And in May, just last month, the U.S. Senate confirmed Janie and her presidential appointment to the National Council on Disability. The Honorable Janie Lehrer-Stein. Our final award recognizes a chapter and an individual who has set the pace in the early years for what today is our robust network of chapters and grassroots support. The founder of this chapter also happens to be a national trustee, meaning that they have given a lot of money over the years. This person is someone who has created the concept of reaching out to friends for support, meaning that their friends have given a lot of money to the Foundation over the years. And you can tell that I'm liking this person more and more, can't you? This person has inspired hundreds of volunteers around the country to start chapters in their own communities. This person and spouse has instilled in their children traits of leadership, generosity, and philanthropy, and those children now carry the torch for FFB in the city where they live, but which I'm not going to tell you or I would give it all away. This person is a co-founder of the Foundation Fighting Blindness. This person, along with her husband, now there's a first hint, has made generous matching grants known as the note to Jim, don't say Gordon's match or you will give it away. Oh, now I get it. Please join me in presenting the Founding Chapter Award to Lulie Gund and the Princeton Chapter, established in 1973.
Congratulations. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you to Jim Minow for helping us out there. We just have a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to send it to the dance floor, and I expect to see everybody out there dancing, unless you are standing in my massive blind spot, in which case I will not see you. But, actually, I thought I would just tell a quick Hollywood story, because I'm here, and I thought that might be interesting. So, I get this call from my agent, assistant, because you can't actually talk to your agent until you make them money. It's kind of like a pimp, but with less of a soul. And she says, I have an audition for you, but here's the thing. And here's the thing is usually followed by gay porn. And she said, here's the thing, they want to see you in a Speedo. I was like, well, here we go. And she says, no, it's not like that. It's just a Speedo for a commercial. And I said, oh, okay, well, what product are they trying not to sell? Because if I'm in a thing. And she says, it's for Doritos. I said, oh, well, that makes sense, because I know when I'm watching TV, when I see a skinny, hairy Jew in a small underwear, I immediately think, like, I could get a nacho cheesy snack item right now. But here's the thing. I don't own a Speedo because I'm not a 300-pound Turkish man. So I go down to Ross because I like to dress for less, and I go to the Speedo aisle, but it turns out they're all out of Speedos. It's like a Turkish convention was in town. So I get the next best thing, which are like those small man underwear, panties, the manties, you know, the manties. So I go home and I try on this little thing, and there's hairs sticking out everywhere. And not in the sexy way you imagine upper thigh hair to be. No. So I figure this is why Schick invented the Quattro Turbo. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin my manscaping. And the thing is, once you start, when do you stop? And I couldn't do all of my legs because I'm but one man, and I don't have a pit crew. So I just went, and then I just kind of stopped. So it ends up just like hairy legs and then nothing. Well, not so much nothing as like red, bumpy patches of itchiness. And I look in the mirror, and it's way worse than it was before. But I thought, hey, maybe it'll grow back by tomorrow. It did not. So the next day I head to my audition, and I've got my Speedo, or my manties, on under my jeans. I wear Gap jeans because I've graduated from the Old Navy tax bracket, but I'm still too poor for Banana Republic. So I get to the audition, and there's tons of dudes there that look just like me. My type is called quirky, which is a nice way of saying nerdy virgin. And thank you. The woman running the audition, she comes out, and of course, she's beautiful, right? Except I have to take my clothes off for her. It's backwards day, right? So she comes in and she explains how it's going to work. She says, okay, guys, so when you come in the room, I'll say, want to take a dip? And you think I mean in the pool, but I mean your Doritos in the ranch dressing. Do you get it? Because it's funny and brilliant. I don't know why she talks like a gay man, but she does. And she says, so what I point to you, strip down to your boxers. Boxers. Oh, that would have been so much easier and so much less red bumpiness. So I figure this is going to be one of those moments that I'll be able to talk about later in a comedy setting. But for right now, I need to go ahead and live it. Okay. So I get into the room, and I come right out, and I tell her, I'm like, look, I didn't own a Speedo. I was told by my agent's assistant that I should get a Speedo, but I'm not Turkish. I just don't. Oh, we're just going to start right now. Hi, I'm John Wilner. Profiles. And then she points to me. And folks, I get nervous when I take my clothes off. I don't like to take my clothes off unless I'm going to sleep with the person, and even then I leave my socks on. So I get nervous, and I start to take my shirt off, but I left my glasses on, so the shirt won't come off. It's just kind of like long, flowy shirt over my head. And then I go to take my pants down, but I left my shoes on, and you know how you can't get your jeans over your shoes, but then the shoes come off in like the pant leg vortex in there, so now the pants are just down around my ankles, and there's the red, bumpy, grassy knoll thing, and just the hair, and she points to me, and I go, they're nacho cheesier, because I'm like Coco in Fame, right? And that, ladies and gentlemen, was 6 years ago, and I'm still waiting to find out if I got that callback or not, because you never know in Hollywood what they're looking for exactly. That is what Hollywood is like. Aren't you glad you don't live there and you have respectable jobs that actually help the world? Thank you for all of that. we're going to end tonight, but before we do, I just personally want to thank a few people. Angie Vasquez, Bill Schmidt, Gordon Gund, Jim Minow. I want to congratulate all of the winners, and if you didn't win this year, I hope you will try again next year. And really thanks to all of you, because you are the foundation. And I missed some of the sessions today, but does anyone know, did they cure RP? Did anyone know? No pills or anything I can take? Someone would let me know, right? I figure. But seriously, a thank you to all of you. Thanks for inviting me to host tonight. And I'm just so honored and privileged to be part of the foundation. And I hope to meet all of you afterwards. And I really do hope that you will dance. Kick it, DJ!